Welcome to the infamous edition of the Headstones and Microphones, where we use AI to step into the past through a researched, first-person simulation done through creative storytelling of history's most infamous people. Now, let's meet our guest. Welcome to the podcast. Let's start at the absolute beginning, where the public narrative hasn't yet distorted who you were. When and where were you born, and what was your given name?
I was born on March 2nd, 1955 in Yatsushiro, which is located in the Kumamoto Prefecture of Japan. My parents gave me the name Chizuo Matsumoto.
What was your hometown and home life like as a child?
My family was quite large and very poor. I was the fourth son, and my father made a modest living weaving and selling traditional Japanese tatami straw mats. Money was always tight, and on top of that, I was born with infantile glaucoma. It left me completely blind in my left eye and with only partial, limited sight in my right eye.
Was there a story behind your name or a nickname that stuck with you?
Later in life, as I began my spiritual journey and founded my movement, I cast aside my birth name and adopted the name Shoko Asahara. To my followers, I would eventually become known by the title Sonshi, meaning honored master.
What were you like as a child, and how many years of schooling did you actually attend?
Because of my visual impairment, my family sent me away to a government-funded boarding school for the blind when I was just 6 years old. I lived and studied there all the way through my teenage years until I graduated in March 1973. Even though my sight was heavily damaged, having some partial vision in one eye actually gave me an advantage over the entirely blind students, and I used that to establish authority and status among my peers. I even repeatedly told people back then that my dream was to become the Prime Minister of Japan.
What's a decision that changed everything for you, but felt small at the time?
After being rejected from the law faculty at the University of Tokyo, I turned to studying acupuncture and traditional Chinese medicine. I eventually opened my own medicine shop outside of Tokyo, but I let greed get the better of me. I began manufacturing unregulated herbal remedies and marketing them as actual medicine to turn a quick profit.
Let's talk about your early run-ins with the law. Before the world knew your name for your most infamous actions, what was your very first arrest or interaction with law enforcement, and what were the consequences?
That came in 1981 and 1982. Police arrested me on suspicion of violating Japanese pharmaceutical laws for selling those unregulated, useless Chinese remedies. I wasn't jailed for it, but I was convicted and forced to pay a heavy fine of 200,000 yen. The scandal completely ruined my business, and the pharmacy went bankrupt shortly after.
At what moment did you realize your name would never be forgotten?
The turning point into national infamy began when our spiritual group, Aum Shinrikyo, was granted official legal status as a religious organization by the Tokyo Metropolitan Government in 1989. After that, we escalated dramatically. The media frenzy truly took hold when we began clashing with the public, running candidates for the Japanese parliament in 1990, and when the authorities began linking us to the disappearances of our vocal critics, like the lawyer Tsutsumi Sakamoto and his family.
Who do you believe betrayed you first? A person, society, or your own instinct?
I would say it was my own inner delusions and instincts that led to the ultimate betrayal. I became completely consumed by apocalyptic visions, convincing myself that a global war was imminent and that I needed to accelerate the end of days. That paranoia drove me to direct my followers to manufacture chemical weapons, shifting a spiritual meditation group into a cell of absolute destruction.
What was your most unique habit or a random fact about you that would surprise people?
Despite the grand spiritual facade and the severe ascetic practices I demanded of my followers, like self-starvation or being locked in tiny boxes, I had a deep personal weakness for luxury foods. Even while I was evading a massive police manhunt, my followers risked getting caught just to smuggle expensive melons into my hidden quarters because they were my favorite treat.
Did you have any known rivalries that defined your career?
My primary adversaries were the Japanese law enforcement agencies, anti-cult activist groups, and specific legal figures like Tsutsumi Sakamoto, who actively represented families trying to rescue their relatives from our compounds. Anyone who stood against our doctrine or threatened to expose our weaponization programs became an immediate enemy of the state we were trying to build.
When the law finally closed in, how exactly were you brought to justice? Walk me through the final arrest, the charges that ultimately stuck, and the legal outcome of your trials.
After the devastating sarin gas attack on the Tokyo subway system in March 1995, a massive police force launched a sweeping crackdown. On May 16, 1995, hundreds of riot police cut through the steel walls of a hidden chamber in our farming compound. They found me meditating in a tiny, cramped space. I offered no resistance. I faced a lengthy trial on 13 separate counts, including mass murder and terrorism for masterminding the subway attack and the 1994 Matsumoto sarin attack. In 2004, I was convicted and sentenced to death.
When, where, and how did you pass away?
My life came to an end on July 6, 2018. I was 63 years old when I was executed by hanging at the Tokyo Detention House in Tokyo, Japan.
Calvin, do you have any closing remarks about the interview or the stories you shared that you would like to share with the listeners before signing off?
I only ask that history looks at the sequence of events clearly. I began with yoga, meditation, and a search for enlightenment in India. But the pursuit of absolute power and the belief in an inescapable apocalypse can twist any spirit into something unrecognizable.
And that wraps up another conversation from Beyond the Grave. Thanks for joining us on the Headstones and Microphones podcast. Remember, do better with the life you have been given and choose to do good in this life. Please help spread the word by sharing and following the pod